Get ready to delve into the incredible world of the Nephilim, the giant beings from ancient Hebrew mythology. In Nephilim, the true story, you'll discover the epic tale of Goliath and his brothers, including their battles, triumphs, and ultimate fate. Hello, and welcome back to The Abandoned Archaeologist, the channel to learn all about ancient archaeological findings. Today, we'll uncover the truth behind this incredible story and explore the mysteries of the ancient world. But before we begin, to get your attention, we have a question you can answer at the end of the video. What was Goliath's armor made of? Write down your answer in the comment section and see if you got it right. Here we begin. In the Hebrew Bible, a mysterious group of beings is known as the Nephilim, characterized by their size and strength. While Nephilim is often translated as giants, there is some debate over its true meaning. Some Jewish interpretations suggest that they were the offspring of fallen angels, imbued with supernatural powers. The most significant reference to the Nephilim can be found in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1-4, though their true identity remains a point of contention. According to the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 33, these creatures were said to inhabit Canaan during the Israelite conquest. Interestingly, the term Nephilim also appears in other biblical books, including Ezekiel 32:27, Judith 16:6, Sirach 16:7, Baruch 3:26-28, and Wisdom 14:6, though their connection to the original group is uncertain. Giants. The concept of giants is prevalent in both Greek and biblical mythology, with the term Nephilim often being translated as such in contemporary English versions of Genesis chapter 6 verse 1-4 and Numbers 13:33. This translation originated from the Septuagint, an early translation of the Hebrew Bible, which rendered the term as gigantes in Greek. In the book of Enoch, the Nephilim were described as being 300 cubits tall, which equates to 450 feet or 140 meters. Who was Goliath? So giants have long been a topic of fascination and intrigue. Although the term Nephilim is not used in the Bible to describe Goliath, he is perhaps the most well-known giant in the Bible. Goliath, a Philistine warrior, challenged the armies of Israel, and only David was brave enough to accept the challenge. The description of Goliath is awe-inspiring. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs, he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. 2 Samuel 21 describes the demise of several giant Philistine warriors, all said to be descended from Rapha in Gath. Goliath's brother was among them, suggesting that Goliath himself descended from Rapha. David went down with his men to fight against the Philistines and became exhausted. Ishbi-Benob, one of the descendants of Rapha, whose bronze spearhead weighed 300 shekels or 7.5 pounds, and who was armed with a new sword, said he would kill David. But Abishai, son of Zeruiah, came to David's rescue. He struck the Philistine down and killed him. Then David's men swore to him, saying, "Never again will you go out with us to battle, so that the lamp of Israel will not be extinguished." In other battles with the Philistines, 3 more descendants of Rapha were slain. Saph, the brother of Goliath, who had a spear with a shaft like a weaver's rod, and a huge man with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. All of these warriors were related to Goliath, but none were called Nephilim. It is intriguing that the Bible does not use the term Nephilim to describe Goliath or any of these other giant warriors. However, their descriptions are no less fascinating. These giants were truly larger than life, and their defeat by God's chosen people serves as a reminder of his power and sovereignty over all things, even the most daunting foes. The story of David and Goliath. The story of David and Goliath is a timeless tale that has been told for generations. It's a story of bravery, faith, and overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges. At the heart of the story is David, the youngest of Jesse's 12 sons. When the Philistines' army gathered for war, David's older brothers went to fight while David stayed behind. However, fate had other plans for David. As the two armies faced off on opposite sides of a deep valley, a giant named Goliath emerged from the Philistine battle line. This giant stood over 9 feet tall and mocked the Israelites and their God for 40 days straight. King Saul and the Israelites were too afraid to do anything, but David was not. David had been sent by his father Jesse to bring back news of the battle, and he would not let this giant bully his people. David volunteered to fight Goliath and went to King Saul for permission. Though King Saul was hesitant, David's faith in God and his own abilities convinced him to allow David to fight. David refused to wear King Saul's armor, instead choosing to carry his sling and 5 smooth stones. Goliath laughed at David, but David stood firm in his faith, telling Goliath that he came in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel. David's aim was true, and the stone he hurled from his sling struck Goliath in the forehead, felling the giant. David then picked up Goliath's own sword and used it to cut off his head, securing a victory for the Israelites. What does this story mean? The story of David and Goliath is one that has been passed down for centuries, and it continues to inspire and encourage people today. It's a powerful reminder of the courage and faith that can come when we entirely trust God. Goliath, the giant Philistine warrior, taunted and threatened David, but instead of cowering in fear, David stood his ground with confidence. He knew that his strength came from God and that he didn't need man's armor to protect him. So instead, he chose the armor of God, which represented his faith and trust in God's power and provision. This message is echoed in the biblical passage from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 to 20, where we were encouraged to put in the whole armor of God in order to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. This includes the belt of truth, breastplate of righteousness, shoes of readiness given by the gospel of peace, shield of faith, helmet of salvation, and sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. With this armor, we can confidently and courageously face any challenge or obstacle, knowing that God is with us every step. When David faced Goliath, he knew that he wasn't just fighting against a physical enemy. Instead, he was fighting against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. But he also knew that God was on his side. That was all the strength and assurance he needed. What do you think of this story? Comment below. And the answer to our question is, Goliath's armor was made of bronze and weighed about 125 pounds. Subscribe for more.